Even before World War II, Japanese Americans faced severe racism in many forms. From laws preventing Japanese immigrants from becoming citizens, owning land, and marrying outside their race, to segregated schools for Japanese children. They were labeled as the Yellow Peril and targeted in anti-Asian campaigns, barred from jobs, and home buying. The bombing of Pearl Harbor and the advent of war only stirred up more fear and hostility, creating bigger rifts in communities. Newspapers across the country published propaganda in articles as well as cartoons reinforcing racism. The media predisposed the national attitude toward Japanese Americans, suggesting that relocation in concentration camps was necessary. Up and down the West Coast, many communities treated Japanese Americans with disrespect and disdain as they were forced from their homes. In the stressful time leading up to their forced removal, Japanese American citizens, as well as their immigrant Japanese or Issei family members, were forced to sell their businesses and homes for pennies on the dollar. Even after they were taken to the concentration camps, their property and precious possessions were stolen. On Bainbridge Island, the story was very different. Japanese American neighbors were considered by most people to be friends and valued community members. While most newspapers were vilifying the Japanese Americans, Walt and Millie Woodward, a young Bainbridge couple who owned the Bainbridge Review, were vocal in their opposition to the exclusion order, calling the removal of U.S. residents and citizens without due process unconstitutional. Walt and Millie's youngest daughter, Mary.
They also had an editorial saying, let's be reasonable. We've got folks here in our community who look like the enemy, but let's just go on as we have and recognize our neighbors are not the ones who bombed us. I think it probably started with their understanding of the Constitution, that what was being proposed was a violation of citizenship rights. The wholesale roundup of a group of people based totally on their ethnic background, without any arrest, any day in court, due process of law was out the window, and it was all because there might be a spy. So they rounded up everyone, 120,000 people, because maybe there was a spy there. None of the people who were sent to concentration camp was ever even charged with a crime of treason or sabotage, let alone proven guilty in court. And they said this is a direct violation of the Constitution that provides due process of law to citizens.
In an effort to keep the divided community connected, Walt and Millie made an offer to their young Japanese American employee, Paul Otaki, a high school student, to be their correspondent to the Bainbridge Review from the camp.
They hired Paul Otaki, who was the first one. He said, okay, you folks are being taken, we don't know where, but when they get there, we want to know what's going on with Islanders. So talk to people, get the gossip, find out who's getting married, find out who won the baseball game. And they always presented it that way, that these are our neighbors who are away for a while, and they're going to be coming home, and we want to keep up on their lives. And I think that was just brilliant on their part, just brilliant. They were always identified by their area where they had lived on the island, so they were still Bainbridge residents there.
The Woodwards regularly published Paul's articles and those of subsequent correspondents in the Review throughout the war, along with local Bainbridge articles, and sent copies to the camps so the Islanders could keep up with the goings-on at home and the people at home could keep up with their friends who had been taken away.